We'll start the session. Sorry for the delay in the starting the session. Today's topic is practice management. I got a very elite faculty here. I'm Dr. Sudhakar Rao, Chairman, Sushila Netralaya Group of Hospitals.
I'm Dr. Ramlinga Reddy, Chairman, Dr. Ramlinga Reddy Exhibition Group of Hospitals, Narshabad.
I'm Dr. Shivacharan, Srinetraya Hospital, Vijayanagaram.
Start with the first talk. Good evening to all of you. I am Dr. Sudhakar Rao, Chairman, Sushila Netralaya Group of Hospitals. At the outset, I convey my sincere thanks to AIOS as well as APOS for giving me this opportunity to address all of you. My topic is past, present and future, a practitioner's perspective. In practice as well as in academics for the past 40 years. I did my MS in 1983 and then started practicing as well as I was in faculty in Kurnool Medical College. So I got exposure for both practice as well as academics. Now why I chosen this topic is every ophthalmologist who comes out of medical college, he'll have a big dilemma to start a practice or to go for institutional practice or to join government service. My choice is private practice because in private practice you are the own boss. That's the greatest advantage. So there are no heads above you to question you. Then you can provide services which are not available in government stations. Most of the government institutions will have very less facilities. Even now we see many patients were seen with torchlights, not with street lamps. So definitely we can give a better service in private practice. Then third advantage is you will be practicing in your local area where you are born and brought up. So it is very lucky to serve our own people. And last but not least is of course money. More chair time, more money. So that is another advantage of private practice. I will divide my talk into three topics: past, present and future. I passed out from JIPMER in 1983 and joined as assistant professor. All these people are my colleagues at Kurnool. I started my clinic in 85 fag end in a small chamber, 4 into 6 feet, very small chamber, 200 rupees rent. I used to see 3-4 patients. Then I used to spend that money with my friends for tea and snacks. Then I used to operate in Dr. G. Chandrasekhar, you know, I think he is the director of LV Prasad Institute. His father's clinic is there, Balasubaya Eye Hospital. So I used to operate my cataract cases there and I used to get 100 rupees per case. Obviously it is intracapsular those days. What are the virtues of a practitioner? Hardworking, this is very important. You should not ask for working hours. The day when I started my work, I used to work from morning 7 to night 9 o'clock. Even at this age, I turned 67 now, I work from morning 9 to 9 p.m., 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So no change in my working hours. Then we have to balance between our profession, communication skills, monetary management skills, and very important is family. So unless you balance all these things, it is very difficult to go through the life. And one other important where you have to concentrate is on non-clinical skills. Non-clinical skills means keeping your surroundings clean and aesthetic, and you have to try to do documentation at every level. And you have to be people's person because I have seen in my 40 years of journey, mouth-to-mouth publicity has got more value than any advertisements. You give a lot of mass media advertisements, but mouth-to-mouth publicity is the best. And whenever you start practice alone, you'll have a lot of stress. So you have to adapt to the stress. And some of the building blocks I noticed in practice building are, first is team building. When I started my practice in 85, no optometrists were available, no ophthalmic technicians. So we have to train people who are passed out from 10th or intermediate. We have to teach them how to do tonometry, how to do syringing, how to record vision. And we have to periodically check them also, they are doing properly or not. Then capital building, once you start practice, you have to improve your practice, you have to do a lot of camps. Now both in rural areas, in towns, as well as in schools. So that is the only way by which you can become popular in that area. Then circle building, you have to be very friendly with all the practitioners practicing in your area, so that they will definitely they will send their cases to us. Our practice will improve. Then skill building, once you start practice, you have to fully competent enough to start the practice. You have to be familiar with all the branches of ophthalmology. In the middle of the practice, you cannot go out and practice. These are some of the camps which I attend. Every month we do 4 to 5 camps. Every week we do 4 camps. So in many of the camps I will be attending in this. Then these are my friends who supported me all these years. Then attending the CME programs like this is very essential, because to catch up with latest things, you have to attend all CME meetings wherever it is happening. Then roadblocks I come across are, one is time management. Initially when you sit in the OP, no patient will come, so you get lot of boring will be there. But you have to bear with that. Otherwise, over a period of time, all these hurdles will go away. Then machine management, you have to buy best equipment available in the market. This is very, very important. Best means all your results will be dependent on these machines. So if you pay peanuts, you will get monkeys. So you have to pay money and you have to get good equipment. Then you have to maintain the CMC and AMC also, because whenever a machine goes out of order, if you have not done CMC, you have to pay a lot of money for repair. Then fallacies in cash flow systems and medical recording. This is nicely answered by EMR. Once you start EMR, all these things, you can record all your patient data, accounting also will be done, and there is no chance of pilferage. So initially we were reluctant to start, especially my staff were reluctant to start, but with a lot of effort, we made them to do. Now everything is streamlined. Then all of us, when we practice, we should know at least a little knowledge about this labor laws, Consumer Protection Act, biomedical waste and pollution control. Present? From 16 to 4 clinic, I have now moved into 14,000 square feet super specialty eye hospital now. It nearly took 3 decades for me to achieve this. I got 6 specialists, all are super specialists, all are with fellowship. 2 cornea, 2 retina and 1 glaucoma and 1 oculoplasty. We do around 10,000 patients we'll see every month, and we do around 500 cases per month. I started a full-fledged refractive unit with Alcon Wavelet excimer laser. Recently we added photoLASIK also. After my brief training at LV Prasad Institute for phaco, at least only for 1 month, I bought this storage machine. Started my phacos those days, 20 years back. Now I moved to most sophisticated Alcon Centurion machine. 2 decades back, I was doing radial keratotomy operations for myopia using diamond knife, using this ultrasound pachymeter for corneal thickness. Now I have moved to most sophisticated Alcon Wavelet excimer laser with oculizer and topolizer, doing contour vision. So I have turned 67 this year. I have established a society called the Sai Education Society, through which we are doing a lot of free camps all over Rayalaseema. And we run a free OPD where we see 50 to 70 patients every day. I have 3 branches, one at Kurnool, one at Hyderabad. Recently, we have started a branch at Nellore. We have started a fellowship also this year. We are taking medical retina 1 fellow, cornea and refractive 1, and glaucoma 1 fellow. We also give internship training for optometrists, especially this Vijayanagaram College. That Centurion University students, they come to our institution for 1 year training for internship. What is the secret mantra? There is no secret mantra in my practice. So as all of us know that Rome was not built in a day. You have to believe in yourself and focus on your goals. This is essential. Never shy to be wrong or back down from doing your work. I always found that average skills with good interpersonal and management skills definitely will outscore excellent skills with mediocrity in other fields. Non-negotiable stuff, I enjoy my morning walk with my dog Arrow, at least for 1 hour, which makes me fit. Since I am so busy in clinic, I have no time to spend with my children in the family. So I made my 2 children ophthalmologists. So now all of us sit in the ophthalmic hospital and we spend 24 hours in hospital only. My wife is my life. She is a gynecologist, but she was bearing with me and she was there with me throughout my journey. One more important thing I want to tell is whenever you see any patient who comes, you have to see as if you are seeing a kith and kin. That those dollar smiles, $1,000 smiles are more important than $1,000. My mentor, I always have my great inspiration for Professor G.N. Rao sir. Whatever I learned from him. So with his inspiration only, we are now starting academics into our practice. We're making an institution now. And we're also extending our services to Tier 3 cities where ophthalmic services are not really good. So we want to improve there. These are all G.N. Rao's ideas. This is the highest award we got, Scoach Award, National Award for our service in Rayalaseema in prevention of blindness. So friends, it's a beautiful journey with many hurdles, but you should never lose hope and patience. You have to always upgrade your skills. Stay updated to the latest technology and techniques. I started my journey in cataract with intracapsular lens extraction. Then I did extracapsular. Then I did phaco. Now I am doing phaco emulsification with small incision. And you have to develop multitasking skills for hospital management, but concentrate your focus on the patients while treating. Patient is first. That is my motto. Assess, analyze, and adapt at work. This is my team. They are all behind me. They are backing me throughout my journey. I am very thankful to all my staff. Thank you very much for your patience hearing.
So anybody from like sir, I am also blessed with. I'm 66. I am also blessed with a ophthalmologist family. My son Meher is a retinal surgeon. My daughter Hasika is a corneal surgeon, and my daughter-in-law Ramya is also an ophthalmologist. And my daughter-in-law have recently cleared FRCS ophthalmology, and they will be receiving their award in Glasgow next month. Thank you, sir, and thank you for this opportunity, sir. So my sincere thanks to our organizers and Professor Sudhakar Rao Garu for giving me this opportunity. So, oxymoron is a word which is a combination of two words which mean differently, opposite meaning. Organized mess, these are the examples. Friendly fight, original copy, virtual reality, small crowd, open secret, only choice. These are the opposite meaning but are in the same word. One more such word is, it's a joke, don't take it seriously, happily. And ethical marketing, that also looks like a oxymoron. There are ethics, there is marketing. Can they go together? The word ethics means defining and recommending concepts of what is right and what is wrong. Good business and good ethics do not have to be mutually exclusive. We can be ethical and we can still market in a proper way. We must keep in mind ethics code of the medical profession. We must not denigrate our colleagues. We should respect them. We should not criticize them. Must use a message which content should respect the dignity of the profession. Special attention should be paid to the language which you use, and we must be, our messages or our promotion should be truthful and should not create unjustified expectation or should not create fear in patient's mind. We must be able to provide the services which we claim in the advertisements. So we should not advertise which we cannot provide. And promotion by mentioning the success rates is also considered unethical. Ethics requires that any paid advertisement should be identified as such. We cannot put advertisement as a news item. So ethics says, what is ethics? Whatever we do or whatever we tell, it should be beneficence, doing good, non-maleficence, no harm, justice, ensuring fairness and autonomy, giving the patient the freedom to choose correctly. So National Medical Commission has given directions regarding marketing. What are unethical acts? Chapter 6, soliciting of patients directly or indirectly by a physician or by a group of physicians or by institutions or organizations is unethical. A medical practitioner is, however, permitted to make a formal announcement in the press regarding the following. So we can advertise on starting practice, on change of type of practice, on changing address, on temporary absence from duty, on resumption of another practice, on succeeding to another practice, on public declaration of charges. Printing of self-photograph in the letterhead or signboard is unethical. It is improper for a physician to use unusually large signboard and write on, if anything other than what we should mention on our signboard: name, qualification obtained from a university or a statutory body, titles and names of specialty and registration number. Only these things should be mentioned on the board. The same should be mentioned on the prescription papers also, nothing more than that. It is improper to affix a signboard on a medical shop or in places where we do not reside or do not work. So this is one of the most aggressive advertisements I have seen. Marketing. So how can we market? We can give paper advertisements, especially on our anniversary functions, or if we have started new service, or if we have appointed a new consultant. On such occasions we can give paper advertisements. On similar occasions we can give TV scrolls or ads. We can put a flex or banner on specific occasions at our hospital, not on the roads. Gloss boards without photograph can be put near our hospital. We can join service organizations like Lottery or Lines or Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce is not a service organization, but it gives us exposure. Our name becomes familiar to many important persons in the town, and thereby we'll indirectly get benefit from that's the indirect way of marketing. Then we can conduct service doing lot of free camps. So we can do free camps, we can do service, and simultaneously we get a good name, and indirectly we get more patients. And we can create awareness programs like glaucoma awareness program or eye donation awareness program. So these programs will take us into the public, our hospital or our name will become familiar, and we'll get more patients. And getting accreditation like NABH and other. Is my time over? My time over, sir? So in-house advertising. So in-house we can slightly go overboard because we are not seen outside. So we can have brochures telling about our hospital, the diseases, explaining the diseases, surgeries performed in our hospital, or regarding the type of implants offered. These things can be given in the brochures. Consultant's profile can be exhibited in the hospital. Accreditations like NABH and other accreditations can be exhibited in the hospital. The equipment you have purchased, the services you are offering, this can be exhibited. You can have a good big size screen, and you can project hospital tour videos or surgery videos so that patient will get impressed. And our counselors, if you train them properly, they will do good marketing for us. And we can go, these days we can go beyond traditional marketing, but we should be watchful that no false, deceptive or misleading information is given, no misleading omissions, no appeals to the patient's anxiety, must not create unjustified expectations. We must disclose the risks. We must not misrepresent the credentials, and no unsubstantiated claims of superiority above others. So we can do online advertisement. Online reviews are very important. Some studies say that 80% of the patients watch the customer reviews before attending. So if you find a negative feedback about your practice, you dig in and address the issue. Every negative review and comment is an opportunity to improve. Respond to both negative and positive reviews. Make sure that you have notifications turned on so that you will be seeing the reviews regularly. And you can use Facebook, Twitter, X, Insta, like social media marketing. It provides easy access to our address, phone numbers, our web address, messaging address. And we can use search engines. The star rating Google gives you from your online review is a key measure of your online performance. Everybody searches Google before going anywhere. Practice with less than 4 stars will be filtered out of best search awards. So if you are having less than 4 stars, your name will not come in the best hospitals award. Having a higher volume and more frequency of reviews will increase your rating. You can create a YouTube channel to bring awareness of your brand. You can make YouTube educational videos. You can advertise through the other YouTube videos. You can use YouTube to increase your brand visibility. There are online provider directories. We can enroll in it. It gives free publicity to us. And don't forget to include a link to your website in that books. So emails, you can regularly send emails to your database regarding quarterly reminder for glaucoma patients or half-yearly reminder for diabetic retinopathy patients. And whenever you send a reminder by email, make sure that there is a call of action for booking an appointment or contacting. Use blogs where you can you can go even deeper and loads quickly. Your website should work on mobile, and it should load very quickly, and it should be easy to use. Offering detailed information on your consultation staff, conditions, etc. will help the patient in deciding to come to you. Ensure that your website is near the top of the search engines. On the website, in the website, you can provide the information about your consultants, office location, contact details, etc., patient testimonials. And there should be one-click contact button for mobile users so that they will be able to book appointment. So I have explained many things which we can do, and I should admit that I have not done, most of them I have not done. So what I did in the last 25 years, I am telling you. First thing is payer mix. Apart from cash patient, we can have many other patients. Insurance, like we can get empaneled with Star Insurance and insurances. Third-party administrators like MediAssist and all. And so because they advertise for us, they advertise our hospital's name on their website. So patients go, I mean, when they take that insurance, they will come to us, patients. And we can have corporate tie-ups. So the companies, they will send their patients, their employees for regular periodical medical checkup. And you can take up government schemes like Employee Health Scheme and Aragyasri, which will generate a lot of revenue for us. And if you are competent and confident, you can encourage medical international tourism also. And your staff are your best advertisers. Take care of your staff. It's a wonderful photograph, sir, you have shown about your staff. It is so pleasing. Take care of them. Take care of your staff. Keep them happy. Keep them well groomed. Keep them well trained. Keep them motivated. They will help you to spread your practice. And above all, word of mouth. The best advertising is done by satisfied customer. All the new forms of marketing brought about by new advertising technologies are on the rise. We cannot underestimate the power of word of mouth. The end goal is not to just increase revenue, but to establish a human connection between the physician and patient, ensuring a good experience. And most important is treat the current patient well. If you treat this patient well, if you make him happy, he will bring more patients to you. Create a attitude of servitude. So patient should be satisfied in terms of service delivery. And Hippocratic Oath captures all these features. Treat the sick to the best of your ability, do no harm, work within your scope of practice and training and not beyond your expertise. Always place the patient's interest above your own, maintain absolute patient privacy, be respectful to colleagues. If you follow this, that itself is a good marketing for you. Thank you for this opportunity, sir.
Thank you, Rahul. Any questions you want to ask Rahul, you can ask him. A very nice ethical practice guidelines he has given. I think we all should practice this. Now I call upon Sivacharan. His topic is on sedation in ophthalmology. This is another important topic.
So I'm Dr. Shivacharan from Srinetra Eye Hospital, Vijayanagaram. At the outset, I thank APOS and AIOS for giving me an opportunity. So this is one slide which never we want to see on the first post-operative day. So it's a nightmare for any ophthalmologist looking at a patient with this kind of scenario. The most and why this happens, majority of times we are not being properly trained in our post-graduation or even in our fellowships about how to sterilize and what are all the instruments which are we should buy or which are being used in sterilization, and all of these things happen at a backstage, and we are never been trained at all in sterilization techniques in our practice or in our post-graduation. So I want to briefly go through the sterilization techniques, how we do and how you maintain your ophthalmic OT, how you clean your ophthalmic instruments, and what are the type sterilizers we can use in ophthalmology, and how you can monitor the sterilization and by the types of indicators which we use in ophthalmology, and how you sterilize if you do an high risk case like an HIV or HBsAg or any other viral infection. So coming at least from the definition, we see that sterilization is a process which eliminates all forms of microbial life. All forms includes, it should also eliminate bacterial spores also. So coming to the first thing, how you should have an ophthalmic OT. Suppose you are planning to construct an hospital, you should see that your ophthalmic OT and your OPD services are not there in the same floor. Your ophthalmic OT should be away from your ophthalmic OPD services. This is required. Why? Because number of personnel in an ophthalmology OPD will decrease the air quality, and this might increase the infectious rate. So your ophthalmic OT should always be there. It should be away from your OPD services. Preferably, it should be there in the first floor. Again, when you are constructing an ophthalmic OT, it should have 4 zones. it should have an outer protective zone, which is the reception area, and a mid clean zone, which is for the changing rooms, and then third room, which is the crux of your ophthalmic OT, the operating room, which is otherwise called aseptic zone or a sterile zone. And finally, you should have a disposal zone for disposal of all your instruments after you complete your ophthalmic OT. So suppose you are starting your ophthalmic OT for the first time, or you are not operated for a long time, or if you are done in a civil work, do not start your OT until you do at least 3 OT washings, and you send the culture for at least 3 times. You should get 3 negative cultures before starting an OT. Suppose if it is a running OT, it means OT which is always which is in use. A single fumigation or disinfective mopping daily or fogging is daily is enough. So fogging can be done both by formalin or by an aseptic solution like bacillocid. And you should always remember that once you have done fumigation, you should close the OT for at least 6 hours after fumigation. And if you have an UV lamp, it is preferable to have an UV lamp, and this UV lamp should be used at least 12 to 16 hours for your proper sterilization. But it's not mandatory to have an UV lamp in your OT. So, but remember that you can have an UV radiation hazard, so you should at least switch off the UV light 2 hours before entering the OT. So, if most of your OTs are all the OTs are with air conditioned, so it's always preferable to have a central AC and split AC if your economy doesn't permit. But window AC should never be used in an ophthalmic OT, because you cannot sterilize, or you cannot be absolute sure of your sterilization if you are using a window air conditioners. An AC filter should be cleaned every week. The floors, microscopes, surfaces should be cleaned with 2% bacillocid daily. The wall tiles, if you are using an wall tiles, you don't have a modular theater, which many of us, so this wall tile should be cleaned up to a height of 4 feet. These are the AOS guidelines to prevent intraocular infection. So once you complete your operation theater, there is one more thing called you have to see that you are cleaning all the OT instruments. Immediately after the OT, soak all these instruments in water and clean all the instruments with Savlon. Savlon, I think it's a mixture of chlorhexidine, citramide and isopropyl alcohol. And you should see that you clean all these instruments with a toothbrush, so that you are eliminating all forms of any dirt or anything which were used in the operation theater. And finally, after Savlon, you have to again rinse with water. And finally, you see. Finally, after rinsing with water, dry all the instruments. If it is preferable to use a dryer, and before wrapping all the instruments. And coming to the sterilizers, there are two types of sterilization techniques. One is in physical sterilization, and another is in chemical sterilization. Physical sterilization is most commonly used in our practice, and chemical sterilization is which we use with ethylene oxide or hydrogen peroxide. So physical sterilization is the most common form of sterilization what we do. Steam sterilizer is the most common type of sterilizers in the physical sterilization, because steam is microbicidal, non-toxic, and also it is inexpensive. So how does a steam sterilizer work? A steam sterilizer works by transferring the heat energy onto the bacteria and killing them. So, and if you are and a pressurized steam is more effective than a normal steam. So one very important thing about steam sterilizers is air. If it is present in the sterilizer, it hampers your sterilization process. So you have to see, you have to take a sterilizer where there is an air removal mechanism from the sterilizer, so that this heat gets transferred onto the your wrapping or bin. So steam sterilizers, another important thing is these steam sterilizers do not work very well for hollow tubings, since air gets trapped in these hollow tubings. Suppose you take a phaco handpiece or phaco tubings, and air will not prevent these steam to enter into your hollow tubings. You should have an effective mechanism where you remove air from all these tubings. So with this knowledge, we have two types of steam sterilizers. Steam sterilizers where you have an active vacuum pump which removes the air from the sterilizer, and then another type of sterilizer where you don't have an active vacuum pump. So the first two, the cooker sterilizer and vertical sterilizer, these are two types of sterilizers where you don't have an active vacuum pump. And the third one, the horizontal sterilizer, is with an active vacuum pump, but this horizontal sterilizer usually has only one vacuum pump. And the fourth one is a tabletop sterilizer, which is used for lighter instruments. And in this tabletop sterilizer, again, you have three types of tabletop sterilizers. One is an N type of tabletop sterilizer, S type, and a B class autoclave. So and this is all these sterilizers are steam sterilizers, but N type doesn't have an active vacuum pump. There is no removal of air from the bin. And S type of tabletop sterilizer has one cycle of air removal, and a B class autoclave, which is the topmost autoclave, has 3 cycles of air removal. So B class autoclave is very highly if you are doing phaco on a regular basis, then it is better you sterilize your phaco tubings in a B class autoclave. So flash autoclave, if you are using a flash autoclave is not recommended. We do not guarantee the sterility of instruments in a flash autoclave, because it is done for about 7 minutes or 8 minutes. So flash autoclave, still if you want to use, you can use it on an emergency basis. Suppose something falls down from your from the table down and you have no other alternative, still then in cases of an emergency, you can use a flash autoclave. And once you have autoclaved the instruments, one more very important thing is how long is the shell life of the instruments which are autoclaved. Usually it is between 24 to 48 hours, and it is better to re-sterilize if the wrapping load is more than 48 hours. In our hospital, we usually do it within 24 hours. We use 24 hours. Beyond 24 hours, we re-sterilize the instruments. So now coming to the type of indicators, so you have to know validate your sterilization process. There are two types of validating procedures. One is a chemical indicator and other is a biological indicator. So chemical indicators use sensitive chemicals, and they change color when exposed to higher temperatures. There are 6 types of chemical indicators, type 1 to type 6, and they monitor the parameters of sterilization like steam, pressure, temperature, and time. So this is the ISO classification of the types of indicators: process, specific use, multivariable, single variable, and all these things. What we normally should be using is a type 4 or type 5 indicators, which will test all the components of sterilization like steam, temperature, heat, and all. Then helix tube is a specific type of chemical indicator which is used to test your sterilization process of an hollow instruments like your phaco tubing. What happens in a helix tube is, if you see there is a knob here. This is the indicator. Indicator is placed inside the knob here, and once you do an sterilization, the steam goes through this tubing and finally reaches here, and this indicator will change the color. So once this indicator changes the color, you are sure that the sterilization is complete. So once the sterilization is complete, you are pretty sure. This is very useful in hollow tubings, especially your phaco tubings. So biological indicators usually contain viable microorganisms like Bacillus atrophius spores, and these Bacillus atrophius spores, when they are exposed to higher temperatures, they get killed, and these biological indicators after sterilization, they can be sent for culture, and once your culture comes negative, then you are pretty sure that your sterilization is absolutely working fine. So what are the AIOS guidelines for monitoring of sterilization? AIOS says that you should use at least 3 chemical indicators, type 5 or type 6. One you should use outside the wrap, one you should use inside the wrap, one inside the tray. And if you are doing a large volume surgery, biological indicators should be used every 3 months. And the proper logbook maintenance and surprise checks of your sterilization process should be done. A chemical sterilization, there are two types of chemical sterilizers. One is an ethylene oxide sterilizer, one is a plasma sterilizer. Each one has its advantages and disadvantages. I'm not going through all these things. So each one works by one thing. So ETO sterilization uses ETO gas, and plasma sterilization usually uses hydrogen peroxide. Both of them are low temperature sterilizers. The one advantage with plasma sterilization is a fast sterilizer. Usually it takes about 75 minutes to complete a sterilization, whereas ETO has advantage that it works much better than a plasma sterilizer in a sterilization thing. But the important disadvantage with ETO sterilizer is it is a long duration sterilizer. Usually for an ETO sterilization process usually takes 6 to 10 hours time. So you have to keep it overnight for sterilization. And other disadvantages, ETO is hazardous and toxic and cancer forming gas. So you should always have a proper aeration thing in your hospital to see that ETO is properly being disposed. And finally, sterilization. If you are doing in high-risk cases like HIV, HBsAg, and HCV, so what we have to do, we have to routinely screen for all viral markers. It should be done as in last case in the OT. You should remove all unwanted instruments from the table. Use double gloves, shoe cover, and it is always better to use disposable linen rather than your regular linen. And it is better to see that there are less number of personnel handling the operating table while you are operating in a high risk case. It is better you yourself handle majority of the operation theater at that point of time. So once you complete an high risk case, what you have to do, you have to soak all the instruments in hypochlorite solution for 30 minutes, wash the instruments and linen. And what is more important is once you have done an high risk case, at least you should do a 2 times autoclaving. So 1 time autoclaving is not enough. So you should do a two times of autoclaving. And before doing a routine sterilization thing, floors and tables should be cleaned with hypochlorite solutions. Wall cleaning with hypochlorite solution is not routinely necessary because you don't have spillage from the table onto the walls. So the take-home message is proper sterilization is highly essential for a successful surgery. Dedicated and trained OT staff should be present. Meticulous documentation of sterilization process is highly recommended, and you should strike a right balance between the economy and efficiency of the sterilization equipment. And upgrading to latest and contemporary sterilization techniques is always mandatory to every practicing ophthalmic surgeon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sivacharan. Very nice talk. This is now I call upon Sunil Kumar. Sunil Kumar? Okay. I call upon Ramalinga Reddy, sir, for his talk on practice pearls. Sir is from Narsarapeta.
Okay. These are nothing but a few sessions by my friend Dr. Sunil. There are neither pearls nor diamonds in the practice. Just I want to tell you why I started my practice, because I started my practice in 1986 when I was not offered a government job and nobody took me for service in any hospital. So as a last resort, I started my practice, and I just want to make it very clear to all the people that a good practice doesn't need a brilliant top brass ophthalmologist. It's only for average fellows like me. not you, sir, who want to earn more money, name and fame in the society. So, next, I started my practice with the small equipments which costed me 5,000 rupees at that time. So, next thing is, for every practitioner, you have to go through 3 stages like this one. When I started my practice, it was like this. Usually, it is like this. After some time, you end up like this. So, only for few people, it will be like this. So, why is this scenario so different? Is it because of some superhuman efforts? No. The fellow who is seeing this OP is spending a lot less time with the patient. He is less accurate in diagnosis also. And patients require a lot of recommendations to be seen early. They don't have proper chairs and not even drinking facility and washrooms also. But people definitely go there only. Why? That is a thing which is not written in any books, and there is no fixed this thing. These are my opinions. They need not be true. After analyzing my practice, I came to conclude a few points that they may not be true for everyone. So I want to highlight some of the qualities which a private practitioner has to adopt. Availability is one thing which is very essential. You have to go and sit in the OP right from the morning to evening if you don't have any single patient. Whenever the patient comes, you have to see. You should not wait till the patients accumulate and then you go. It is not correct. You have to be there at each point. And second thing is sincerity towards the profession and the empathy towards the patient. You must be very sincere. Mano vacha karmana antare aa vidhanga. So you have to dedicate yourself to the welfare of the patient. Then only you will succeed in your this thing. So next important thing is the appearance of the doctor when the patient visits him. It should not be like this. Even we don't like this type of doctor if we go for any treatment. We like this fellow who is receptive to the patient, talks very empathetically and with a lot of concern. So this appearance is more important. Next thing is attentive listening. Hearing is different from listening. When the patient comes, you spend a few minutes of uninterrupted, let him talk uninterruptedly for 2 minutes. Then my experience is he will tell you the disease, what the disease is. If you let him talk, he will tell you what he is suffering from, why he changed the previous doctor. Because our patient was sometimes, at one point of time, he was another doctor's patient. So he came to us just because you have to listen it. So he will tell you the diagnosis, he will tell you why he is not going to the previous person, and he will tell you the treatment also, what he wants from you. So then best thing is call everybody by name. Name is very important for everybody. So calling by name requires a lot of skill and attention and practice also. Whenever you call anybody by name, it indicates a rapport, recognition and importance to the person so that he is ready to listen to what you say. So try to develop that habit of calling everybody by name. Then comes the thing like who is your boss? Bosses differ at various places. In our houses, like for senior citizens, our wife is our boss, not for Sunil. Because after 20 years of marriage, definitely your boss will be your wife. So, what is the main character of a boss? Boss is never satisfied with your work. He will be critical. He will go on observing you, and at even a slightest opportunity will try to criticize you. Same is the thing with the patient also. Patient is your boss in the hospital. You treat him like a boss. The saying goes, boss is always right. So if the patient says your treatment is good, it is good. If the patient says you are a bad doctor, you are definitely a bad doctor. Your staff are bad, definitely it is bad. So you have to satisfy this fellow to sustain practice. So once you deal with the patient, then comes the important person. Most important person is the attendant. So on the left side is the attendant and right side is the patient. So see how small the patient is when compared to the attendant. So attendant is the person who brings the patient to the hospital, who bears all the expenditure, and moreover he is not blind, so he doesn't he observes everything in the hospital and he will analyze you very critically. So beware of the attendant and try to pay more attention to him. Like what we do usually is this side. You sit and the patient also sits, attendant stands like that. I thought I followed it for some time, but then I switched over to this method and started talking to the patient, to the attendant. Then the results were dramatic, because attendant will convince the patient for everything. If you just follow the trick that patient seems to be less intelligent, you are more intelligent, you try to convince the patient, he will definitely convince the patient, and it will bring a lot of, you will see the results if you respect the attendant. So everything is over. Now how to retain, once you got the best practice, how to retain the practice, because getting practice is one thing and retaining it is even more important than getting practice. You have to maintain good staff, like Dr. Sudhakar Rao told, pleasing, obedient, duty-minded, dedicated and long-standing staff. After all, staff are an extension of the doctor, and patient spends more time with the staff rather than the doctor. So try to employ good staff, and nowadays even this type of staff are also required for obvious reasons. You will practice, these are all my staff, only some of my staff. There are many more, they could not be accommodated in the frame. So you can practice with a lot of confidence and respect also, command respect from the public. So, but these people need more payments. Then updating your knowledge is even more important, because science is always very advancing. Moreover, ophthalmology is more and more advancing. So you have to update your skills. How you update the skills? Sitting always in the OP and updating the knowledge are quite controversial. You cannot do both. So there is one small way of doing that. One way is purchasing the equipment is one thing. Another thing is refer the most difficult cases to the best institutes available and try to follow up with the consultant. What he did, what was the disease, what was the fault with you. That way you can update your knowledge luckily we have big institute in Guntur, Shankara Netralaya, and previously it was L.V. Prasad Institute, who used to write letters for the doctor who referred the patient. So what was the diagnosis, what was the management, where you went wrong, everything you will get. So that is the one way of updating your knowledge, sitting in the hospital 24 hours a day. And another thing is, this may not be true, because all people in urban area may not get the villagers. But one difference between a villager and a town patient is, villager is a patient for the lifetime. Once he comes, he keeps on coming till either he dies or you die. But urban patients, it is not correct. He goes on window shopping. So try to have more village patients. And counseling is also one part. Counseling plays major role in retaining your practice. First thing is, just I want to tell you one small thing and a small trick also. Patient is having cataract and it is to be operated. So what I heard, and I learned from the mistakes of others. One doctor in Vijayawada told the patient that you have to get operated now itself, within 1 hour. The patient told him that, sir, my attendant is not, he is at Narsarapet and he is coming to Vijayawada in 2 hours. No, I will look after you. You lie down on the operation table. That type of hurry will not work. That creates a lot of suspicion in the minds of the patient. Because after all, cataract is never an emergency unless it is glaucomatous. It induces glaucoma. And you cannot promote multifocals or trifocals for a village poor patients. You have to see the condition of the patient while promoting the lenses. And even for guarded prognosis cases, you have to see and try to eliminate the cases in the beginning, because however good you are, if you deal with a case and the result is not good, even if you know and if you convince the patient asked you to do it, even if it is not good, but at the end of the thing he will tell you that I spent 20,000 rupees with Dr. Reddy, but I couldn't get the vision. He told him everything beforehand, but at the end of the day he will tell you the same thing. So never, as a private practitioner, never try to take up guarded prognosis cases. And always patients go on testing you now and then. They don't bring the old OP cards to you, and they want to ask you what is the diagnosis. Even they don't tell the complaint also. You have to match the diagnosis of your previous 1 year or 1 month back. What you told, you have to remember, tell him. So best thing is make a protocol and tell this is the thing. So you go on telling the same thing each and every time. You make it a habit so that these faults will not happen again and again. Never criticize anybody in your locality or even outside. Good public relations are also important. And make friends with people outside your doctor community, because doctors will not come to your rescue at an emergency. Only people from outside doctor community, they come to your rescue very openly and instantly also. They have a lot of time and they respect you. So have friends even outside the doctor community. And crisis management is very important. Everybody is likely to have unexpected crisis during the practice. Patient may have bad post-operative result. Even life may be at risk. All these conditions, you must be able to manage the crisis. Crisis management, you cannot run away from the practice. So crisis management is very important. And key persons, Medical, okay, then developing the practice is one thing. There are few key persons who are helpful to improve your practice. One is medical and paramedical persons. So you treat them free. All your compounders, nurses, compounder nurses of others in the same town or other towns also, ANMs, village workers, village heads and politicians, school teachers and wardens, and pastors. These people play a very important role. You encounter problems, they come to your rescue. Why? All these people are surrounded by people who will listen to them. School teachers, politicians, village heads, pastors, and all these things. So there is a special class of people I'm going to show you next. You have to take out identify them in the practice. So you see these 5 people. Is anyone different from the other? No. He is the person. The first one brings a auto full of patients every time he comes from the village. 10 people, he brings 10 people, takes away his rewards, and he brings all the 10 people and promotes them about the best lenses also. He does a lot of counseling and all that. These people, you have to identify them and then make them your friends.
Thank you.
And okay, yes, time is over.
Oh, sir, next class.
Dealing with failures is also important. Once there is a failure, you have to deal with them. You have to tell the patient openly that what happened and what is the best way to get rid of it. You try to take initiative and send them to bigger institutes where the patient will get better. Don't take money into consideration. And this is one thing which I experienced. There is a lot of usefulness. You give discounts, you get more patients. Don't say that even this money, I don't get any profit out of your treatment. Always offer discounts whenever, very freely.
Sir, we're running short of time, sir.
Okay.
One more speaker is there.
Okay, then it's over.
Sorry.
All right, no problem, no problem. So you get feedback from the patient, and this is my family. I'm thankful to all of them for their support throughout the careers.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Very nice tips you have. Only lack of time. Now I invite.
Okay, we have come to the last topic of the day, and I promise you that I won't take more than at the most 10 minutes. And I thought this will be buzzing with people, and for my surprise, I am seeing empty chairs. So let's start. So what's the best investment that you could make? Obviously, all our speakers have told it's onto yourself, onto your practice, improving your practice, and all these things. And after that, after you have got money, and once you want to invest in equities, this talk is about that. So what is the relevance of this talk? I am a pessimist by nature, but people may not agree with me. But the thing is, India now has the highest number of medical colleges in the whole world. United States of America has got 198 medical colleges. India has got 710 medical colleges as of now, and counting, mind you. And even the MBBS seats and the postgraduate seats have increased more than 140% in the last 7 years. So definitely practices are going to be challenging. So, and this is the most important point I want to say. Don't club your investment and insurance. Why? Because for Indians, most of the Indians, the investment is into an LIC endowment policy, which gives you a 40 paisa return after 25 years. So don't club investment and insurance. And investment, anything should be goal-based. For example, if you are investing 5 lakhs rupees, are you investing for your child's marriage or for your son's education? Everything after 5 years, after 10 years, everything should be goal-based. So the talk is about investing into equities. Equity means putting your investment into a company. Of course, what your investment becomes is you should subtract the liabilities, then the remaining will be your equity in that company. So you can invest into a company by way of two ways. You can invest into mutual funds, you can invest by way of stocks. I will deal with two things in this talk. So mutual funds, group of people come together, they pool of money and they invest in somebody, they will employ someone and he will invest on your behalf into mutual funds. He too will invest in stocks, but he will be a mediator. That is the basic of the mutual fund. They could be classified based on the size of the company they are investing in, as large caps, mid caps, small caps, or where they are investing in. For example, if they are investing into debt funds, sector funds, gold-based funds, and so on. So I want to understand this point pretty clearly. Based on the presence of the middleman, you can classify them into two types, the regular fund and a direct fund. In a regular fund, there will be a middleman between the company and you. So he takes up a percentage from your investment. And direct fund, there won't be any middleman. And based on the role of the fund manager, you can classify them as active funds and passive funds. Active funds, research is done by the fund manager and he will invest in according to his research. And passive funds, his role is limited. And the most important of these passive funds are the index funds. Index funds, the manager does nothing. The fund is tagged to an index, for example, BSE 30 index or Nifty 50 index. And as per the weightage of each stock, for example, if you have invested 100 rupees with him and Reliance is weighted at 3%, he will invest 3 rupees into Reliance. That's it. He doesn't use any of his brains and just he will follow the relative weightage, that's it. And based on the payback, you can, the investments, the mutual funds could be growth funds and dividend funds. Dividend funds pay you a dividend, but those are not preferred. Growth fund is preferred much. So, and this one is the most important thing. So in any mutual fund, in an active fund, passive fund, regular fund, or a direct fund, you have what is called expense ratio. That's the percentage of fund that is deducted from your corpus and as a maintenance. For example, if you are invested in 4 crores into a fund, if it is 2% maintenance fee, it will be 2 lakhs per annum. So that expense ratio is very critical. So to keep that minimum is also important. Active funds charge about 1% or more as expense, but passive funds it will be 0.2 to 0.5%, and this is a very important point to note. So what is the worldwide view? So worldwide view, in the mature markets, they are all shifting towards passive index funds. In India, still we have got active funds because India is still an immature market, and we have got what is called an alpha ratio is there. So there is a possibility to beat the market in an immature market. That's what we call as alpha. India is still an immature market, so people are investing into active funds, but worldwide the shift is towards the passive funds. So who is rooting towards investment in index funds? None other than the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer around about a low grade of prostate cancer around about 5 to 6 years back, and he has written in his will. So after he dies, 90% of his assets should go into index funds. So, if I have to give a choice to, somebody asks me an advice, I will give to which in a mutual funds you should invest in. You should invest in an index fund and an active small cap fund. So the only funds where the small caps have outperformed index funds are in the smaller companies, small capitalization companies. The active funds have outperformed the index fund. Rest of the times, index funds 8 out of 10 times have outperformed an active fund. So basing on your age, for example, if you are 50 like me, go more with an index fund. If you are a relatively young person, go with an more investment into an actively traded small cap fund. So ETFs, they are upcoming things. So, see the statistics. This is pretty interesting. For example, if you are invested 10,000 rupees in 1918 in a Wipro share, by 2021, you will be worth of 1899 crores, maybe far more than any group of hospitals or chain of hospitals. So if you are invested 1 lakh in MRF, it will be 74 crores. So these are unbelievable stories, but don't forget these also. Satyam, Yes Bank, Reliance Power, countless others who have created enormous losses. So once you are investing in a company, what you should see in a company? You should see with these 3 things. Whether it has got a moat. For example, all the forts in the world, whole world, the king's forts, they should have moats around them. They are with అంటే ఒక అగాధం లాగా దానిలో మొసళ్ళు ఉంటాయి. So the presence of moat is very important. For example, if all the companies either they produce goods or they deliver services. So any fly-by-night courier, could they just emulate them and get into the market, or it's not so easy. If it is not so easy, that means that product or service has got a moat and it's not easy for others to replicate it. So the company should have a moat, and management is the most critical thing, and the money utilization. This is important because you don't want to take the profits, you want to reinvest them. So the company should also have the ability to reinvest your money. So see that ability to do. And as I said, management is the most important thing. See the previous track record of whether they are, how they are conducting themselves, are there financial irregularities with them, and presence of independent board of directors of repute in the board, and see the quality of the auditors. What kind of auditors they are employing, and the privately held companies of the promoters. The most famous of this example is the Satyam promoters owned Metas privately, and rest is history. What happened, rest is history. So, and coming to the fundamentals, these are all the fundamentals. PE ratio, how expensive the share, the price of the share to the earnings of the share is the PE ratio, and PEG is the growth potential. Normally 14 to 20 is considered a good PE ratio. PEG ratio less than 1 is considered good. P by B ratio is the actual price of the price that at which you are buying to the book value of the company, and the debt to equity of the company. If the company has got more debt, definitely avoid those shares. And return on the capital employed, this also should be seen. So, and you see what the promoters are saying. You don't know what is happening into the company. See, when every quarter they will holdings, they will see if the promoter has sold any of his holdings. Keep an eye on that, because he knows it before than you. See if any foreign institutional investors, domestic institutional investors, or anyone are buying or selling into a share. See the presence of retail investors. See, too much of retail shares into retail investment will hamper the growth of the share, or too little into retail investors. That has happened with Adani shares. The free float of the share being small will artificially increase the share. So see, the relative holdings of all these persons. So it's not the timing of the investment, but the time to you give to the investment that matters. Don't churn too much. Don't keep on removing from here, placing it there, from removing it there and placing it here. Just allow some time, but keep an eye. And if the company is going down the hill, quarter after quarter, you get out of that company. So again, when should you take out your money? As I said, the investment should be goal based. So you have got invested this for your daughter's marriage. Just remove and you are sitting pretty good on your returns, but remove them just 2 years before the goal, because you never know the markets. Markets are subject to market risks. So take out that money and keep it in an FD, so that you won't have any heart attack later. Thank you.